Started at, I think I might have been 23 years old at Toledo. I was actually, on the staff when we came here and played at Iowa State before the end zone stuff was done. And I didn't know anything. I thought I knew some stuff about football. I really didn't know much. And I just tried to sink my teeth into the people that I was surrounded by. And we had such a good foundation and good staff at the time. Like, there's a lot of people that went on to be phenomenal coaches there. And then, I played defensive football. So being on offense, you have to go above and beyond to learn certain things. So you study and you watch so much film. And for me, it started really as a development piece, just to try to get the players to trust me. And once you're able to get them to trust you and they see that they could grow and they buy into you, then the scheme kind of comes second. But they like to see the growth and the development. So I think when you have that mindset and you really start from the ground up, and it can be brick by brick and it can be from a developmental piece, then it doesn't really matter what the scheme of it is, because it's still about putting the players in the best formations to go make plays. And our offense is going to change year in and year out, depending on what our personnel is. But I think for me, it always started with a developmental base.
I know you have a complement of running backs, but what is specifically Abu's potential?
Yeah, I think Abu's potential is electric. I'm so good with him in NCAA, the video game right now, it's ridiculous. So it's a good reminder for me of how good that guy is, because if he could be half as good as I am with him in the video game, then I think he has a chance to be really special. But he's so good. He's so instinctual, and he sees the field so well. He's special. He's good in space. He's good in the box. You guys have seen what he could do. And I think just going into year 2 and continuing to challenge him and putting him in positions to fail and struggle and grow, and we're going to have those. And, as a freshman, you don't know what you don't know, and you kind of go out there and play ball, but can he understand the big picture of what we want to do? And getting him involved in the pass game a lot more too. I think we have the offensive line to be able to 5-man protect a little bit more and get him out of the backfield and let him go make plays in space, and then be able to get him, involved. And I think we can play in some 2 running back stuff too with him and Carson and some of the other guys that we have. So I think the sky's the limit for Abu.
What's impressed you the most with the tight ends?
The thing that impressed me the most is the work ethic that those guys have. It doesn't matter what I challenge them from a body comp standpoint, what I want them to do, way in, way out, the consistency that they have every single day. We did have the highest GPA on the team this year. This is the tight end group. So I want to let that be known too, which I make a big deal about. That is, doing it right and just building great habits. And those guys have done it. They've committed to it, and they push each other. They work hard. They know that the strength of our tight end room and is the amount of numbers and the depth that we have. So just the selflessness that those guys have and how tough that they are. We do stuff. We have a bachelorette fantasy league that we do together. We're big bachelorette fans in the tight end room. So we had a little watch party at my house Monday. It's getting really steamy right now, bachelorette. So just the chemistry that we have in there. I love those guys. They mean the world to me. I can't say enough about how special all of them are.
They love you too.
I think
you told me.
I think that one of your guys pointed out that did he start at the D2 level? Was that where you would have played college ball?
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started at the D2 level.
Okay, so somebody just pointed out the fact that you kind of started there, and here you are coaching as an OC in the Power 5 level. What's your journey been like? Do you feel like that's kind of fed your motivation and your drive to get to this point?
Yeah, absolutely. It was certainly bigger than anything I could have dreamed of. I've always believed in my work ethic and felt like I could go and outwork people, and I was hungry enough. Like I said, my dad worked in minor league hockey, and I saw him, work his way up through that. So I felt like if I could go somewhere, I could do all this stuff that no one else wanted to do better than anybody else. All the jobs that everybody hates, and that was gonna be my niche when I got into football. If I ever got in, I just wanted the opportunity, and I got one. And I knew, being a D2 defensive football player working with Division I offensive players, why would they ever listen to me? You know what I mean? So I knew my knowledge and my relationships with them had to be better than anybody else's, or it just wasn't going to work. And you had to be patient, and you have to have no ego. You have to have no entitlement. You can't care about making money in it. You can't care about your status in it. You have to just love the grind and the development of all of it, because there's so many days where you're not out in the jack. There's so many days that aren't games where they're just struggles, but that's what makes it special.
How does the Bachelor Fantasy League work?
So I think it's called the Rose League, and there's an app, and they track. You get points for crying and kisses. If you get sent home, it's -6. So it's pretty competitive. It's pretty competitive in our Bachelorette Fantasy League. We're gonna see what Jen does. We got her ex-boyfriend coming back right now, so there's a lot of drama. I had a bad finish. I think I finished 12th this last week. So I lost last year. I think Burkle might be in first place this year. He was towards the bottom last year. He's at the top right now. So he had a good off season. He checked the tape. He did his homework on these Bachelorette contestants. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
How much do you use Ben Bramer in the video game, and what's his ceiling in real life versus what you see in the video game?
Yeah, Ben's really, really special. As you guys know, I have used him in the. What's funny is when we play, a lot of people want to play me with Iowa State. So like I'm finding myself at the wrong end of like Ben Bramer and Abusama and Jaden and Jalen and these people that they throw the ball up and they get mossed and I start screaming at them on the screen and I get mad at them. But yeah, I think Ben's a guy like with what he looks like now. He's almost 250 pounds. He got here at like 218. I think his potential is so high. Like he loves football. He's a football guy. Whatever job we ask him to do, he'll go and do it. He's super competitive and I don't know what the sky, the limit looks like for him. It's going to be really special, but we're going to push that needle like we did last year and get him to go and do things he hasn't done before and see what he could do for our offense.
What have you implemented with the new position you have hockey-wise? Has there been anything you've taken that hockey players would be accustomed to that you've implemented now that you've been able to see?
I certainly feel like just from like a player standpoint that hockey people are the toughest people in sports. And you watch in the playoffs, like those guys will lose 7 teeth, come back in and play. And I think just like the grittiness and the toughness of, and that's kind of Iowa State football too, like that's what high school football is like in the state. That's Midwest football. And, letting those guys really like sink their teeth into like the toughness and like the culture, like in a time where football is so transactional, it's so much about me, like can we have the best chemistry of anybody? Like that's a hockey locker room to in my mind, like it's for the boys. It's rolling 4 lines. Like can we roll 5 tight ends and cheer each other on every time something happens? Like that's just like what I grew up in. That's what my culture is. Like it's going into the corners, you know what I mean? It's winning the C and the D gap. Like it's not pretty, but like that's how you win hockey games. It's how you win football games.